Welcome to the Think Factory podcast. We got one question for you. What keeps you up at night?
Welcome back to the Think Factory podcast, and I'm your host, Chris Santomassimo from OGC Solutions, and we power the Think Factory podcast. And I'm excited to talk today with Karen Brooker. Karen is the Vice President of Growth Strategy with Marketing Card Technology in Downers Grove, Illinois. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Chris.
Well, I think, I'm excited to talk to you because this is a sort of a special print-related episode because MCT really is in a special niche, being in the marketing card arena. And I think one of the few folks that do that as the central part of their business. So tell us a little bit about MCT, what you do, and how you're helping your customers.
Right. So MCT has been in the business for a little over 10 years, but our founders and our key staff have been in the business for quite a bit longer than that. I have been in card manufacturing and print for over 30 years myself, which I know dates me. Life was different back in the days of the fax machine. But
it was a simpler time, though, wasn't it?
It was. It was a simpler time. And it's funny, I think about the days of art boards and, kind of flipping through the overlays to see the elements of your design. And life is quite a bit different now, which, it's interesting. We don't have as many colleagues in print as we used to. And the designers that we work with are frequently designing primarily for digital and only to a small degree for printed pieces. And so that's where I think having the experience makes the biggest difference, because we're able to kind of fill in the gaps with that design background for our customers where they don't necessarily have that strength with print. But yes, so I've been in the card business for over 30 years. And MCT has two facilities, and one of which is a card manufacturing facility. That's all we do here is card production, and it stretches the whole gamut from promotional cards to Visa, MasterCard, secure payment cards. Our other facility is a direct mail production facility. So that's where we are taking direct mail membership cards and attaching them to letters and inserting with all kinds of other fun inserts and putting them in envelopes and dropping them in the mail for our clients. So that really is the core of our business. Direct mail is the heart of it, but we do have, like I said, in our card production facility, we do also serve the payment space and access space and other card applications.
I think on the promotional side of the card business, I think it makes the piece special sometimes and it makes it very noticeable when you open the envelope and you're looking not only at a printed piece on paper, but you're also looking at this card that's been affixed. It almost seems like, or maybe this is the appearance that you're trying to create, but it seems like you've gotten something very exclusive as a result of getting that card.
Yes. The exclusivity is sometimes the feel that you're going for. In some markets, it's the feeling of kind of a relationship. So plastic cards have a long history of driving return on investment for marketers by increasing open rate and by increasing response rate, and specifically with certain types of mailers. So, for instance, nonprofits love cards for the results that they drive. We're also seeing that the cards are a useful tool, a productive tool for financial institutions and insurance companies to drive acquisitions. So, as a matter of fact, we put out a new ebook this year, and to my knowledge, and I've been in the industry for a while, I think it's the only one that's ever been published, which is specifically focused on helping marketers drive response rate with cards, whether they're paper cards or plastic cards. So we put out an ebook. It's called The Essential Guide to Boosting Direct Mail Response Using Membership Cards. That ebook is available
very
free. Very
appropriate title, by the way.
Yep, for any marketer who wants to increase their response rates and experiment with cards. As a matter of fact, right now, the U.S. Postal Service has some promotions running. And for the next couple of months, it's not too late for marketers to get in on the game and save 5% on their postage by incorporating a card in their program, because it is considered to be an interactive feature. And right now, one of the promotions that the post office is running is incentivizing including interactive features in your mail. So that's something that many of our customers have been taking advantage of.
Well, especially in this climate of rates being raised at least twice a year, to take advantage of something special like that and get a reduction in your postal rates is a win-win.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's break it down a little bit. So if you're doing a promotion for, say, a nonprofit, and you're including the printed card in the mailer, what's the psychological component that you're hoping takes root with the recipient? What do you hope they do? What do you hope that they do after they take that initial action? Like, talk about maybe the staying power and sort of the reaction that you're hoping for from the recipient.
Right. So depending on the call to action for the piece, the type of marketer, the card design, the effect on the consumer that's receiving the card is going to be different. It's going to vary. So in some cases, we have customers that are treating the card almost as a keepsake. So the front of the card will have a design that really connects with this particular audience. And, it might be a charity. It might be a university that they attended. But there's something that creates that connection. And if nothing else, the person who receives it and opens it is going to hang on to that piece longer, which means your message has longer exposure. In many cases, they will put that in their pocket, and not necessarily in their pocket, their drawer, set it on their desk, but they'll hang on to it for quite a period of time because they kind of, again, consider it a keepsake. In some instances, the only purpose of the card is to get somebody to open the envelope. And so it almost, in those instances, the card may only carry a call to action. And nobody ever expects it to be peeled off the letter and put in a wallet. It literally is just driving an open rate. So it varies, and we can work with our clients to kind of figure out what makes sense for their particular mailing.
So in the university setting, for example, you might see the alumni database being used to generate the pieces, and therefore you give them their name, their alumni club ID number or something like that, and maybe a discount. But that might drive something else like fundraising, perhaps.
Correct. Fundraising, giving them a sense of membership, so they'll just be more engaged with the college or university, and yes, of course, driving donations, but hopefully driving other involvement too.
What are some examples on the for-profit side? Some industries or some customers where not only driving response rates is important, but other ways in which the printed card can help, with a promotional opportunity.
Mm-hmm. There's kind of an interesting application in the retail space where cards are being distributed either in just being dropped into, for instance, merchandise that's being shipped to consumers or going out in the mail. And they're essentially promotional gift cards. So a promotional, and I say promotional gift card so you'll know what I'm talking about. It's intended to be spent toward merchandise. But it doesn't legally qualify as a gift card because it will have an expiration date. It's intended to incentivize the recipient to spend this money and make a purchase within a certain period of time. And if they don't, then the card will be worthless. But that's a popular insert in subscription packages that you receive, on a monthly basis. It's also, it works great for direct mail for retailers who are trying to drive traffic to their stores.
Yeah, when you talk about taking it out of the mail piece and putting it in your wallet or your purse, what better way to do it than have a sort of a rigid card that is, something you're reluctant to throw away?
Right. Yeah. I mean, in one sense, it functions kind of like a coupon, but not too many people clip coupons anymore. I mean, if they've got some deals on their mobile phone for sure, but when it comes to having something physical, tangible to walk into a store and receive some sort of benefit, a free gift or a discount, a card works great.
Well, I'm sure the response rates to those promotions must span the gamut, but if you had to come up with a range or an average, what would you say in terms of that, the ability of the card to generate, live traffic into a store?
This is a wild guess, and I'm sure it depends quite a bit on the value of the card. But I would put it at about a 20 to 25% response rate. And then considering that the higher the value of the card, the more it's likely to drive that person into the store. And I think that you've got some retailers that are just really faithful about sending these out to their best customers, and their best customers literally wait for them. And I'm going to throw a name out there. Kohl's is amazing with their promotional communication to their customers. And when somebody receives something in the mail from Kohl's that they know they can walk into a store and get $10 or $15 worth of free merchandise, they're very likely to go into the store and use it. And there are other retailers like that have just done a really good job of using incentives and sometimes in the form of cards to get customers to come back to the store.
And I think customers, to your point, have gotten programmed about that. I remember some years ago when JCPenney tried to switch it up and stop doing those promotions. Things didn't work so well after a while. We're in a pretty short amount of time, as I recall, once the promotions got cut back.
Yeah, I remember that. There was a bit of a backlash.
Yeah, customers rebelled. And unfortunately, I think the person who figured out that plan didn't last at the company very long. But besides that, it just proves that, when people do get used to the process and the timing, and when you talk about a loyal customer who's willing to come back to the store as opposed to take, some other action, the staying power, I think, proves itself.
Right. And what's interesting is that our younger shoppers love going to stores. And I think people don't give them that credit. They assume, Gen Z, I don't even know what the next gen is going to be called, but then our Gen Z shoppers, the assumption is that they're going to do most of their shopping online. And the truth is they're going into stores even more than their older cohorts. So having that messaging and having that tool that brings them to your store and not somebody else's store is an incredible value.
Is there would you say that the cards are a little bit more effective for certain elements of retail as opposed to others? For example, if you're going to go buy clothing as opposed to, toiletry items, would you say that there's any difference in terms of the mix, or does it just depend on who's the recipient of the card?
I would say that they're extremely popular in gas and convenience, also grocery, general discount. I do think that certain retailers with their marketing have been really effective in those categories. Like, for instance, you just mentioned clothing. I think there it depends on the brand, right? It depends on the brand and kind of what their relationship is like with their best customers. So if they've got a really strong, regular, and well-received communication with those customers, then cards are going to be very effective. If they don't communicate much with those best customers, then cards are probably not going to be as effective.
And I'm sure some of the cards are intended to create a reaction online, right?
We do have some cards, sure, that literally carry a 2D barcode to drive you right to a website. And that's where we see that in insurance and financial businesses, where they really are working to get people to the website to sign up for a home equity loan or loan consolidation program or auto insurance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we already know it, and I think it's been pretty well established that direct mail in general has a much better response rate than digital, and then the card technology on top of it is going to emphasize that even more.
Right. I mean, I think with direct mail, because postage continues to go up, getting that guaranteed return is only more and more important. So being really thoughtful about your audience. If you're going to incorporate a card, working with an experienced team that can help counsel you on, what kind of messaging and artwork is going to be most effective in your new card program. And then when you find something that works, don't abandon it. It's funny. Direct mail has been used in card programs since the 90s. And you would think by now it would be going away, but it's just as effective as it ever was. So when you've got something that works, take advantage.
Well, I always think too that direct mail is much more reliable to folks, or much more trustworthy. Maybe that's a better word, because you would be a little reluctant to respond to an online ad or an emailed ad for a credit card or a loan because you don't know about the security as well as you do with mail. If somebody's willing to spend the money to send you something in the mail, plus the printed card even, and there's a lot of effort that goes in there, then I'm going to be much more likely to respond than I would to just an email. In fact, I probably would just delete the email.
Yeah, I think everybody is a bit nervous about spam and phishing. And email, because of its low cost per impression, is still useful. I mean, it's an important, tool in the toolbox. But you're right. I mean, very few emails actually get opened, and there's always a hesitancy when somebody is taking a look at a marketing email just because of the risk of phishing. So direct mail does, I think, first of all, there's simply fewer physical pieces in the mailbox on a particular day. And so you do get that guaranteed look that you might not get with email. But then also it is more trusted, like you said. If nothing else, you've got information right there in the piece about where to find this marketer. If you have concerns, you can look them up. And here's their address and here's their phone number and.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. So, Karen, what do you see coming down the pike maybe in the rest of 2024 into 2025 in terms of what MCT is doing for its customers and, some of the places that folks can come visit you, maybe at trade shows or other events?
Right now, the hot topics for us are security and sustainability. So in direct mail, of course, security is less of a concern. So we're providing more sustainable card materials. That includes various papers. It includes recycled traditional materials, but in their recycled form. We have a brand new Go Wild product, which is a PVC free. It's a resin, but it's a resin that's 60% chalk, and so it's a very plentiful element and non-toxic. So that's something that we just got samples printed up. Those are available for anybody to take a look at, and that is a durable water-resistant material. So I think we're going to see continued emphasis on sustainability. In the payment space, there's a lot of concern about fraud, so we're working on various more secure packaging options, more secure labeling options, working closely with our clients there. The increase in postage, it remains to be seen how that's going to affect decisions around more kind of micro-targeting. And so we may see packages get redesigned following those postage changes or right around the changes in postage, just to make sure that we continue to see the same ROI or better ROI for our customers.
And in some cases, keeping the weight down as well, and then giving you a little bit more bang for your buck in terms of the campaign.
Absolutely. The Go Wild material I just mentioned, as a matter of fact, it's a less dense material, and so in between the weight of paper and PVC, it's probably about midway there.
Wow, talk about a complicating factor on top of a complicated business. Right, but that's amazing, sure. Though. I'd love to hear little stories like that. The folks that are coming up with these hybrid materials. I mean, talk about creative when you talk about mixing chalk with plastic. That's something else for sure. Where are some of the trade shows or other events where folks can come experience MCT?
Yeah, we've got some fun ones coming up. We'll be at National Postal Forum. We also are going to be at Transport Ticketing North America, which is a brand new show this year. That one is right here in Chicago, which I don't think I mentioned. That's our home base. So both of our facilities are in the Chicago suburbs, and Transport Ticketing North America will be right here in Chicago. We're also involved in the Retail Gift Card Association, and so later this year we'll be participating in their forum. But yeah, you can see us at just about any show that draws card marketers.
Fantastic. And the website is, if I'm not mistaken, is mctechnology.com, correct?
It is.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Well, anybody who's interested in really a cutting edge direct mail campaign or loyalty cards, etc., needs to check out marketing card technology. These are the folks that have been in it really centrally as part of their business for a long time and tons of experience making sure that campaigns that go out the door are as effective as they can be. Thanks for sharing all the details about it today, Karen.
Yeah, Chris, I really appreciate our conversation.
Oh, it's terrific. So just to refresh, this has been Karen Brooker, the Vice President of Growth Strategy for Marketing Card Technology in the Chicago area. And signing off, this is Chris Santomassimo from OGC Solutions. We power the Think Factory podcast, and we're proud to do it. And we'll see you next time.